Around 10,000 people are falsely arrested each year. It is expected that around 4% of people placed in prison are actually innocent. For hundreds of years, these people were robbed from their lives, forced to endure a punishment for a crime they didn't commit, with no hope or chance for redemption.
Enter Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld, two public defenders fresh from Benjamin and Cardozo's School of Law. These two lawyers had heard of the new magical DNA technology, a new advancement that could completely revolutionize the criminal justice system.
DNA is located everywhere in the human body. By taking blood tests, scientists can compare the DNA of the subject to the DNA of the guilty party.
In short, this is a way to prove without doubt whether people were guilty or not. While many lawyers started using DNA testing to prove people guilty, Peter and Barry had another idea. Quote, we knew that this new DNA technology would not only prove people guilty, but also prove people innocent. Barry Scheck. And right away, they got to it, creating the Innocence Project in 1992 with the goal of freeing those falsely arrested. Originally, it was just a small clinic at Cardozo's School of Law, but after getting over 100 exonerations in just 10 years, they decided to become independent and became a non-profit organization in 2004. One such exoneration was Kirk Bloodsworth. Multiple false eyewitnesses had landed him the death sentence for the murder of an 8-year-old girl. The specifics were fishy. They refused to let him call a lawyer, and evidence for him was either ignored or distorted. Either way, the poor man found himself sitting in a cell for 8 years. He said to an interviewer, I thought my life had ended. It basically had at that point. That is until 1993, when the Innocence Project heard about his case. Using DNA testing, the Innocence Project found out that sure enough, Kirk was innocent. After a few trials, they managed to set him free. This is just one example of the 365 cases that the Innocence Project has dealt with and succeeded in. Unfortunately, the average amount of time spent in prison is 14 years, and the longest is 38. Just imagine 38 years of your life gone, and you get to know that a criminal got away with it. But wait, Mr. Narrator person, I thought our justice system was good. How could somebody innocent get put in jail? I hear you ask. Apparently, and unfortunately, it's not very hard. Over 2/3 of Innocence Project cases involved false eyewitness identification. Often under pressure, people make rash decisions as well. 28% of their victims have confessed to a crime that they did not commit. And once someone is in jail, it is extremely hard to get them out. Barry Scheck is quoted as saying, so many of these cases are literally wars. Prosecutors regard the exoneration of an innocent person wrongly convicted as an attack upon the system. So many of these cases were an uphill battle from day one to the very end. Unfortunately, 2/3 of our country has rules saying that new DNA evidence can't be used after 6 months. Prosecutors would stop an innocent person from being freed because the DNA was found too late. This does not stop the Innocence Project, however, as they will battle it out with the court until their innocent man is free. Luckily, the Independence Project also helps people move back into regular life again. In fact, over 3/4 of all Innocence Project people came back to work with the Innocence Project again. Over the years, they have gained 80 full-time workers constantly fighting for not only people's innocence, but also major changes to the legal system. One example is how the Independence Project constantly fights against the death penalty, as they are well aware of how many false convictions there are. In fact, 18 of the Independence Project cases were on death's row. Even worse, many of these people are not even compensated. The Independence Project also fights to make sure that all exonerees are compensated for their time. If it wasn't, it would be an average of 14 years of their lives robbed from them with no compensation whatsoever. Crazily, if you take the time of all of the Independence Project cases and line them up end to end, it would be about 5,065 years. That is enough time to run around the entire Earth 8,000 times and still have 600 years to spare.
It is extremely lucky that we are able to have this organization with us, fighting for our innocence. And the people have realized this too.
In 1 year, they received $27 million from donations from the people. Not only that, but their popularity has nearly doubled for the last 4 years in a row. This is extremely helpful as they are a non-profit, so they need these donations in order to run.
They are powered by your support. You can help this amazing group by visiting their website, innocenceproject.org, and donating money to power them. There are still innocent people in jail. There always will be. And while the Innocence Project may not be able to stop all false convictions, they can help free those affected. And when the Innocence Project fights for someone, they nearly always succeed. Did I mention they've been part of over 100 justice reforms trying to help our justice system? Well, they have.
As Kirk Bloodsworth said, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Wouldn't you want someone to fight for you? Donate to the Innocence Project today to fight for the justice of everyone, everywhere. Around 10,000 robbed of their lives, forced to endure a punishment for a crime they didn't commit, no hope or chance for redemption.